Hey, help support the show by becoming a member on Patreon or YouTube. You'll get 4 bonus videos a month, plus ad-free versions of every Junkyard pod, and a special shout out at the beginning of each video. This is the best way to help me as a creator, and so thank you, and go Cavs.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Let's get ready to
Welcome to the Junkyard Pod. I'm Tony Pesta, joined by Jackson Flickinger. And guys, I gotta be real with you. Entering this game, I looked at it and I said, you know what, the Cavs, they've been shooting pretty crazy from the three-point line in games 1 and 2. They haven't been getting into the paint. Once I saw that Darius Garland's not playing, first game on the road, Miami's all fired up because some of the back and forth going on, I said, this could be a competitive game. Maybe this will be the toughest game of the series so far. And you know what happened? The Cavs just came out. First couple minutes were a bit slow. After that, it was an absolute massacre. They just destroyed Miami all game long. Wasn't even close. They were up by as many as 40 points at one time. Even the garbage time minutes were going our way. Even the Craig Porter, Javonte Green minutes were going our way. And so this was an all-around great game. And I just want to get your immediate reaction, Jackson, because I thought this was going to be the biggest test of the series so far. And if it was, the Cavs just passed it with flying colors.
My immediate reaction is Tristan Thompson was a +8 in his minutes. And I don't know when the last time we said that.
A couple minutes.
Right.
He played 5 minutes.
Yeah. And he won his minutes. You got to win your minutes in the playoffs. In the playoffs, if you're on the court, you got to win your minutes. We know Tristan's not winning his minutes on Twitter.com, so he might as well win his garbage time minutes. Might as well win his garbage time
Not a single
minutes.
Cavs player lost their minutes today, and not a single Heat player won their minutes. In fact, only one Heat player.
Sam tried.
Yeah, well, Sam, we'll talk about him, but every Heat player was -10 or worse, besides Jaime Jaquez, who played the garbage time minutes and finished as a -8. Everyone else was -10 or worse. Most of these guys are -20. So plus minus is a bit wonky, but I think it kind of reflects what this game looked like.
What I hate to derail everything this early. What happened to Jaime Jaquez? Because
that's what
I thought that he was good. I forgot that he was
good
on
as a
team.
rookie.
I was like,
he just
he
doesn't
must
play
be,
anymore.
He must be hurt. Yeah.
We were speculating it's a sophomore slump. Sometimes guys go through a sophomore slump, so I guess we'll keep an eye on him. But he fell apart. Fell apart in his sophomore year.
You have a bunch of not great players coming off the bench. Nikola Jovic playing a lot of minutes. Pelly Larson playing a lot of minutes.
Unfamiliar with his game entirely, and he's playing. I just found out about him in game 2. So, and even like you could tell, there was a play early in the game. Jovic was dribbling the ball for a while, and Ty Jerome comes over and double teams, just takes it right from him. He's like, it was like Ty Jerome, the light bulb went off. Hey, who the hell is this guy dribbling the ball? Let me just go take it from him. Why is he dribbling so much?
There was something funny. I for my breakdown of game 2, I talked about how the Cavs aren't just hunting Tyler Herro. They're actually hunting everyone on the Heat, and they got Ty Jerome in the first quarter. He had a bad game too, but in the first quarter, he saw Larson was on him, and DeAndre Hunter goes to set a screen, and Ty Jerome's like waving him away, like get as far away as possible, like he has to play. Like, no, I want this guy, and then he scores on him. So this game, going back to this game, first place I want to start is with Jarrett Allen. I thought Jarrett Allen was phenomenal. I thought Jarrett Allen really set the tone, scored the team's first 6 points. They were down 12-4. All the momentum was going the other way, and Jarrett Allen just kept plugging away, being aggressive, getting to the basket, being aggressive on both sides of the ball. And I think that was really helpful when you don't have Darius Garland. You need somebody like that to step up. And Jarrett Allen was that guy. It certainly wasn't Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell did not have it going, 4-14 from the field. But Jarrett Allen did. And I thought that his energy on both ends, specifically in the first 5 minutes of the game, really helped keep the Cavs in it, and then also helped in their 18-0 run.
Yeah, Jarrett Allen has been so good in this series, and listen, the box score isn't jumping off the page. He's not putting up crazy numbers or anything, but to me, he has looked very active and engaged in game 1 and game 2 as well. And then today was just the culmination of that. I mean, he was awesome start to finish. I think it's worth noting, I tweeted this out, but like, hey, listen, he's doing this against Bam Adebayo. And like, let's be fair. There's a lot of plays where Bam is trying to, rotate and recover and everything. It's not like Allen's putting his body into him and winning that way. But for a guy who's dealt a lot with, always too soft for the playoffs, the lights are too bright, all this, great start to this postseason for Jarrett Allen. He looked awesome today. I was really, really impressed by him. One thing that I was watching for in this game, because in games 1 and 2, Cavs were not scoring in the paint, just couldn't get the ball in the paint. Miami, very concentrated effort to keep Allen and Mobley away from touching it by the rim. I think they scored 31% of their points in games 1 and 2 in the paint. That was by far the lowest of anyone in the playoffs so far. Today, guess how many points they had in the paint? Just off the do you have any guess how many points they had in the paint?
I didn't look at that, but I know they had 10 more second chance points, so I'm assuming a lot of those came into paint.
Yes, they had. I didn't check the second chance points, but they had 60 points in the paint in game 3. They had 76 points in games 1 and 2 combined in the paint. So they were awesome in the paint. At one point, I think at halftime, they had converted 16 field goals in the paint. Old kid in the playback chat shared. So they were just crushing Miami down low all game. And it wasn't just Jarrett Allen. It was also Evan Mobley too. But Jarrett Allen set the tone, got it started early. And I've just been really impressed with the way Jarrett's playing in this series. I'm very, very happy and proud that he's showing up like this. 22 points, 10 rebounds, 8 defensive rebounds, 8 of 9 from the floor, by the way. He was almost flawless. If Max Strus didn't throw him the worst alley-oop attempt ever, he would have been flawless.
Well, Sam Merrill threw him an even worse one at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
In the very beginning. That was...
But Jarrett had no chance of catching it.
Well,
so
that was in his
box.
That was in like Isaac Okoro territory
of
where it hit the backboard. So anyways, but yeah, I would disagree a little bit on your assessment that Jarrett Allen has been phenomenal all series. I think he's been very good. He's been very fine. He's been average.
We can give him good. Come on. He's been good.
I would say he's been average. But I think
this is hater. So this is a hater moment for Jackson.
Hold on. So the thing that always frustrates me about Jarrett Allen is that it's easy to say in a game like today, well, he just has a lot more opportunities, and you can see his talent really come to the forefront when he's getting more opportunities because Darius isn't out there because you need a little bit more on the offensive end without one of your big 4 players. And I think that sort of gives Allen a pass in a way that I don't think is necessary. Every time Allen has a good game, afterwards he'll say, yeah, my teammates told me that I needed to be really aggressive today for reason X, and I was. And it's like, I don't like that we only see this version of Allen on, like, you don't see it every game. And I know you're not going to see it for 82 games, but I don't think you see it for every playoff game either. And what's really interesting is you mentioned he was 8 and 9. He only had 9 field goal attempts. Like it wasn't like they were force feeding Allen and giving him a bunch of shot attempts. His season average is 7.8. So it's not that he was getting considerably more looks. It was just that when the ball touched his hands, he said, I'm going to be very aggressive with my first step, very aggressive with finishing. And that shouldn't be dependent on who's in the lineup. Like he could get 4 shot attempts and be really forceful in those 4 shot attempts. And I don't think that's something that we consistently see. So this was a reminder of how good Allen is when he is being aggressive in the opportunities that he has. I would just like to see that continue when Darius Garland is eventually back, because it's not an opportunity thing. It's just how he uses those opportunities.
Yeah, that's definitely something to keep an eye on. And I do think that he's been aggressive in this series, though. I think Miami's done a good job of not allowing the Cavs bigs to get going in games 1 and 2. But when he did get the ball, he was pretty aggressive. And so today was, like I said, the best example of it, where it really started to show because, only 9 field goal attempts. He only played 26 minutes, though, and something worth keeping an eye on, too, that, both bigs should be trying to do this more often. Jarrett Allen, 6 of 6 at the free throw line, got himself to the free throw line a couple times, too. And so I was really, really pleased with the way Jarrett played today. Finished as a plus 20. I thought he was awesome. Also, might as well shout out Evan Mobley here, too, talking about the bigs. Evan Mobley, 19 points in 32 minutes. He had a pair of threes. One of them was like a sidestep 3, 3 assists, shot 8 of 13 from the floor. He was electric tonight. I mean, nobody could guard him. There was only one play that I can think of where Bam kind of stood him up a little bit and he went away from the rim and missed it. Everything else was towards the rim, towards the basket. Again, he took hit the 2 threes, but everything in the paint was going towards the rim, towards the basket. A couple dunks, a couple nice post hooks. I thought Evan Mobley was also very good in this game.
Yes, definitely good to bring up Evan Mobley. I feel like Evan Mobley's underrated superpower is kind of how fast he can quickly process and adjust in a situation like this. Like we talked about after game one, we talked about how Evan said he was working really hard on those little push shots around the rim and then his 3-point shot. And we saw, he still kind of got pushed off his spots in game two, but then he was able to have the touch and the outside shot going so that instead of having a poor game like he did in game one, he had a good game, even though he was kind of operating in the same areas. This game, it seemed like he took it to another level, as you were saying, where he was able to actually get to his spots and actually push Bam off of what he wanted him to do. And that's where I think that Mobley's, I felt, has always had really good processing speed and the ability to adjust. What's changed now is he's become physically stronger and physically more mature, where he's able to match what he wants to do with what he actually is able to do on the court. And that's really encouraging. And that's, that's something that you want to see keep happening as we continue to build towards an eventual Celtics series where he's going to have to win his matchup against Kristaps Porzingis.
Exactly. Yeah. It's all one step at a time. This is what I said in the playback chat, and I've repeated it a bunch of times, but there's even just backing up, there's only so much you can prove in the regular season, right? There's only so much you can prove in the first round against the 8-seeded opponent, right? But you got to see this proof of concept stuff. And that's what we're getting from Allen, from Mobley, from Ty Jerome, from all across the board. The Cavs are just showing us that they're number one seeds for a reason, and they're backing it up, just absolutely destroying Miami. You mentioned the defense a little bit too, and I want to highlight that real quick because I thought the defense today was just as impressive. They held Miami to 87 points. Bam Adebayo, 9 of 20 shooting. He had 4 threes. He actually had a fairly efficient night.
Tough threes.
That's what I was going to say, is even though he shot efficiently, man, did he work for every single one of them. And he had 6 turnovers, a couple travels, just trying to, Mobley and Allen both bothering him a little bit. I thought the two bigs did a great job of making Bam work for it. 22 points on 20 shots. That's not great. I know I said it was somewhat efficient. I mean, he shot almost 50%, but 22 points on 20 shots is not great. Tyler Herro, after all that back and forth over the Darius Garland didn't even play today, which we should just mention again. No Darius
Garland. But he
did
play better. He did play better than Tyler Herro, though.
Yeah,
he would acknowledge that.
He probably did, in all honesty, because Tyler Herro, 5 of 13 from the floor. I think he started off 3 of 10. Sam Merrill was giving him fits. Dean Wade was giving him fits, which Dean Wade, we know Dean Wade's capable of that. And in all honesty, I think our podcast has been very positive about Sam Merrill's defense too, so we're not overlooking him. But
I think this was a bad Sam Merrill defensive game.
I thought he was okay on defense.
Maybe I stopped paying attention after the first quarter, but it felt like
he didn't play that much in this game though. He only played the 19 minutes, I think.
Yeah. We'll touch on it later, but Dean Wade was very good on defense.
Dean Wade was great. Dean Wade sliding his feet. One thing that I was really noticing, and you notice this every time you watch Dean Wade, but just a disciplined defender. Doesn't reach, doesn't step the wrong way, bad closeout, anything like that. Just stays in front of his man, walls him off, hands up. Just great defense on Tyler Herro. Gave him no daylight at all. I don't have the shot chart, but it felt like Tyler Herro basically took exclusively floaters and tough mid-range jumpers, which was the key to the series that I said at the start is, make him take those shots. If he can beat us like that, then so be it. But only 13 points today. He was a minus 26, 3 turnovers. Cavs absolutely gave him, so much trouble today, and it was awesome to see.
Yeah, and I mean, we kind of talked about the shot distribution where game one, Bam had more shots than Tyler Herro, and we talked about how that's kind of what you want if you're the Cavs. Game two, Tyler Herro had more shots, and then here, they made Bam be the best offensive player, and Bam is going to one of the reasons why the Heat weren't able to keep making it work with Jimmy Butler and why this was an ultimately kind of a failed season is because Bam has never taken that step forward that I think it was easy to project as an offensive player from, say, that finals run in 23, where it just felt like, okay, he's a good offensive player, but if he, kind of gets, 5-10% better at, area, like at his ball handling, at his 3-point shooting, at his playmaking, then he's gonna be a top 15 level player, and then we can keep it rolling even as Jimmy is getting up there in age. And I think you kind of see the limitations of Bam today. Like, he was hitting his 3-point shots. The first field goal of the game was a tough shot. He had another one that was the end of a shot clock shot where someone had their hand in his face, and I was like, I can't believe that went in. But the 6 turnovers, that's where you can't have somebody be an offensive hub like that if they're turning it over that many times and they're not really creating for their teammates. And that's where I think this is why Miami is a 10th seed that had 36 wins. And this is also what you need to force Miami to do if you're going to beat them as handily as you did.
Yeah, 6 turnovers for Bam, just 1 assist, and only 9 made field goals. So it's kind of funny you mentioned, like, we kind of projected Bam was going to improve on offense, and it's almost like we think back to 2 years ago, people were kind of throwing around like, oh, well, maybe Evan Mobley can like develop like Bam on offense. Like, that was what we were thinking of. Now I feel pretty comfortable saying Evan Mobley's a way better offensive player than Bam, and he's the defensive player of the year as well, by the way, which we haven't talked about because that just happened in between games. But congrats to Evan Mobley. What a year. Right. I know Victor Wembanyama going out kind of opened the door for it, but it's awesome to see it happen, right? It's been a season of victory laps for all the Evan Mobley believers, and so I'm just enjoying it while it's here. Congrats to Evan Mobley, Defensive Player of the Year. He's blossoming on offense. He's hit, how many threes has he hit in this series? He had 2 today. I think he had 2 the other day. He's hitting a lot of threes. I should have pulled up the totals before, but he's shooting the ball really well too. This has just been a great breakout year for Evan Mobley that's continuing to impress me as we go forward. But there's someone who we haven't talked about yet who may have been the player of the game, in all honesty. It's DeAndre Hunter. Plus 34. 21 points on 8 shot attempts. You want to talk about efficient. He only took 8 shots. He scored 21 points, 6 of 6 from the free throw line, 3 of 5 from deep. He was burying shots from everywhere. Over contest, doesn't matter. Like, a hand in his face, he's able to just rise up and shoot. Doesn't affect him at all. Getting to the free throw line, working his way into the paint. He had a nice mid-range jumper too. This is a very methodical, deliberate game from DeAndre Hunter, the 6'8" athletic wing, this guy who's just able to get shots that the Cavs didn't have that option on their bench before, right? Like, you had Karis LeVert, who was a little helter-skelter, not as strong as DeAndre Hunter. George Niang not really creating for himself. DeAndre Hunter today just said, I got it. I'll just create everything for myself right here. Also had 4 rebounds. A couple of them were contested, which had me excited.
3 more than normal. So
normal. The contests were good. And the other thing, and I'd want to rewatch the game to have a better opinion on this, but when I was watching, I noticed a few times where I was like, hey, that was a great closeout from DeAndre Hunter. Got to the ball, like no shot went up. He just closed out steady, under control, didn't give up a shot, didn't give up a drive, just focused, lasered in on his defensive assignment, help, get back, recover, rotate, everything. It was just a great defensive game from DeAndre Hunter too. Didn't have like the plays where you're like, oh wow, he just completely clamped that person up or what a block or anything, but just a really sound defensive game from Hunter where it never felt like he was in the wrong place. Again, he was grabbing the rebounds. And then you had the fact that he had 21 points and on 8 shot attempts. This is, I think you wrote it in your takeaways. This is why you trade for DeAndre Hunter. He just showed you this is why you trade for him. And I can't believe that Kobe Altman managed to get this man without giving up any picks, any first-round picks for LeVert and Niang, and got us under the tax. What a move. What a move that we've been talking about all year. But DeAndre was awesome in this game.
I think one of the things that this series highlighted, and it'll be interesting to see how this progresses, but the Cavs, because the Cavs are so deep, if you are relying on DeAndre Hunter every night to have a game like this, you're going to be a underwhelming team. Like if DeAndre Hunter is your 3rd best player, or if he's somebody that, like, if we don't get a good DeAndre Hunter game, then we can't, compete with the best teams. But this Cavs team, he's slotted in as about the 5th best player, and that's very appropriate because when he doesn't have a good game, and I know it's against a bad Heat team, but it is still a playoff series. When he doesn't have a great game, you can still win comfortably. And when he does have a game like he did today, even if Mitchell's bad, even if you don't have Darius Garland, you can still, come away with a 30-something point victory. And that's what DeAndre Hunter provides. He was really locked in. We've seen that half a season with Hunter, and I think we're still learning what situations are good for him, what situations aren't. But it seems like when he's just really locked in, you're just like, man, this guy, he's one of the best wings in the league. How do you defend this shot? They're like, oh, that's a good contest. That's a good contest. Like he can guard, put him on an island with anybody. You'll be fine. And that's where I don't know what version of Hunter you're going to get when it matters most, but the A+ version of Hunter makes this team a championship level team. Like if you have this version of Hunter, they're a better team than the Celtics. If you have this version of Hunter, you're a better team than the Thunder. It's just, can you get this version of DeAndre Hunter 4 times against the Celtics? That's something that I think remains to be answered, because you didn't get this. Hunter was better. Hunter had 14 points in game 2. It wasn't a good Hunter game.
First 2 games weren't great.
He scored, but he wasn't a factor on defense. We know his rebounding's bad. Even when it's better, it's bad. You mentioned that he got contested rebounds. I feel like he's okay if you get contested rebounds. It must be his positioning must be really off. He has to not be putting himself in the right positions to get rebounds, because it seems like every time he gets a rebound, it's like, oh yeah, he had to fight through somebody else. It's just that.
Yeah, it's those mental lapses, not being in the right place. And that extends to just his defense in general too, where it's like, oh, he's closing out, but it's like he's closing out on Bam and leaving Davion Mitchell wide open, or it's like he's closing out, but he's so far behind the play that it's a drive-by or whatever. So today he was very focused, and you're right. Like the best version of DeAndre Hunter takes this Cavs team to the next level. One of the good things and the nice things about this, though, is that even when he's bad, they can still make up for it. It's just in order to win a championship, you need a lot of things to go the right way for you. And one of those things, one of the biggest things for the Cavs, is going to be getting this version of DeAndre Hunter to show up, like you said, just 4 times against Boston. Maybe even if he only shows up twice, it might be enough. But you got it. He has to show up a couple times in order for you to get all the way to the championship.
I would say, maybe I'm going to amend this take a little bit. The Virginia Cavaliers need to show up 4 times. Ty Jerome needs to show up. Because if Ty Jerome shows up, and gives you 20 something, you're going to win that game. If Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley are playing like they're, playing up to their normal standards. And the same thing with DeAndre Hunter. So that's where you just need those 2 wild cards off the bench. One of them needs to hit. And when they do hit, the craziest thing is there is a little bit of a boom or bust potential with both of them. But the boom is such a boom that it just makes up for a lot of stuff, because you have your bench players. You do have a lot of, and we talked about how, I remember we talked about last year consistently, the Cavs bench, they have nobody who can actually pass, dribble, and shoot. And they're kind of still in that position. Isaac Okoro, Dean Wade, Sam Merrill, they all have very high level skills, but they're also very narrowly defined high level skills. Yeah. And then when you throw in DeAndre Hunter and Ty Jerome into that, who can just, when they're on, they're doing multiple things. DeAndre Hunter was creating his own shot. DeAndre Hunter was getting to the line. DeAndre Hunter was hitting from behind, from behind the arc. When we talked about Ty Jerome's game in game 1, it was Ty Jerome's getting to the line. He's getting to the mid-range. He's getting other people involved. He's getting a 3-point shot. He's getting steals. Those are so many other things that your other role players cannot provide. So that's why the boom is such a, it just puts this team over the top, because you don't need that every single night, but when you get it, it's just it's just unfair. Other teams don't, Peyton Pritchard is good. Peyton Pritchard can't he can't affect the game in the same ways that DeAndre Hunter can. Anybody coming off of OKC's bench kind of is like a cog in the OKC wheel. It's not if they're hitting, they look like a top 20 NBA player. And that's what this Cavs team has with Jerome and Hunter. And obviously the issue is you're not getting it every night, but when you do get it, it can be a blowout.
Yeah, and this is something you hit on very briefly, and I think I mentioned it at the top, but I just want to reinforce it one more time for everybody. No Darius Garland in this game. Donovan Mitchell only scores 13 points. He shoots 4-14, only 1 assist and a turnover. Not a good Donovan Mitchell game. No Darius Garland. And you were up by 40. And it's in large part because your bench was destroying Miami. The Cavalier bench outscored the Heat. Where is it? I have it here. 52-18 in this game. Ty Jerome, who we haven't talked about, he didn't have a big scoring game. He was just like, I'm going to try something different. Let me just get a career high in assists. Career high 11 assists. He never did that in the regular season. This is his first playoff series. The first time he did it there, he was like, "Oh no, Darius. All right, I'm just gonna get a double tonight." Like, and even though he didn't have a good scoring game, he included like a 29-footer over Bam from the logo. It was crazy. It was like Ty Jerome is just capable of giving you this huge boost. DeAndre Hunter can give you this boost. The rest of the bench guys didn't really do anything that impressive. Like Dean Wade, great on defense, 0 points, 0 of 2 shooting. Jalen Tyson was good in his 5 minutes, but that was garbage time. Okoro also good in his garbage time minutes, but yeah, we don't have to go over that. But Sam Merrill, unfortunately, 0 of 3 today. He was like the only Cavalier who didn't really have it going offensively, but I thought he was fine enough on defense. And there's, you won by 40, so I'm not going to complain about that. Donovan Mitchell, I'll talk about him real quick, and then we got to talk about Strus at some point.
Well, but I do want to have a conversation about the starting lineup if Darius Garland is out for longer, because I think that warrants discussion. Okay. I don't think you can stick with Sam in the starting lineup, and you know this hurts me to say, but I think that you can't stick with him for Monday. Monday doesn't. It's fine. But let's say Darius is out again in a possible second round series with either the Bucks or the Pacers. The margin is going to be a little tighter. You can't. I don't think you can have Sam in that role. I thought Miami really did go out of their way to target him. I think they did a decent job of doing that in the first quarter, and it's not it didn't come as a surprise to me that the Cavs went on their 18-0 run in the first quarter as soon as they started getting their bench guys in. I don't think that starting lineup, it's relying a lot on Donovan Mitchell's playmaking ability, and the spacing is a little wonky, so like I just think you need somebody else in that spot that can provide some ancillary playmaking like Max Strus can, who we'll talk about. But I think you got to go with like DeAndre Hunter in that position, or I think you go with if you really want to keep the Hunter Jerome thing on the bench, I think you got to go with Dean Wade, so you have a really like formidable front court, so you have like a really imposing identity, because I felt that this starting lineup had no identity. Like they weren't a super spacing it out team that wasn't a super defensive first team. I felt that it was just kind of some guys out there that were playing roles that didn't really necessarily coalesce. And the Cavs started off the third quarter poorly too. It's easy to forget because the Cavs blew them out, but the Heat started with a 7-0 run. I thought the offense was really disjointed. I thought the defense wasn't great. So I think you got to pivot away from Merrill in that spot if you are, if Darius is out for more than just this one game.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see what Kenny decides to do. I have no idea what Darius Garland's status is going to be. Hopefully he won't miss more than another game. They play on Monday, so it's possible that he'll miss that one too. I'm not an expert on toe injuries, but I will say it seems like the type of injury that is only going to heal if you stop playing on it, right? It's not going to get better if you just keep playing on it. So we'll see what he ends up doing. I'll say this really quickly because I did see a lot of people who were like, "Oh my God, Darius Garland's running from the grind." Which like he's so scared after saying all that to Herro. If you watch the last 2 minutes of game 2, he could barely move. He was barely getting up and down the court. And so if that's how he looked today, it makes sense why he was on the bench. And I'm all for getting Darius Garland right and healthy because clearly they can beat the Miami Heat without Darius Garland. Moving forward, I think you need Darius Garland to be as close to 100% as you can. And obviously you're going to have to play through injuries in the playoffs, how it goes. But I had no problem with Darius Garland sitting today. I just wanted to say that for the record. So real quick, we can talk about Donovan Mitchell. Not much to really say. Just figure people will want to hear. Listen, he was 4-14. The thing that I'll give him credit for, never felt like he was pressing too much or trying to hijack the offense to get himself going. It more so felt like, all right, it's not my night. He didn't even distribute the ball that well, only 1 assist, but I never felt like the ball was stuck in his hands or that it was gluing to him. Everyone else was getting involved. He shot 3 of 8 from deep, so he actually had an efficient 3-point shooting game. It was just everything else wasn't dropping for him. And overall, yeah, like, listen, I think I gave him a C, maybe a C plus or a C minus. I don't remember for the grades. He was fine. Like, he played good defense. The shot just wasn't falling. I didn't think he was taking horrible shots or anything. And when the Cavs win a playoff game by like 20, 30 points, it's hard for me to really knock Donovan Mitchell too much. So overall, I wouldn't be worried about him. I think it's actually a really good sign that the Cavs got a bad game from Donovan and they still just absolutely steamrolled this team and put up, 124 points. I mean, this offense is crazy.
Mm-hmm. I think that it's also important to recognize that Donovan usually plays his best in the fourth quarter. And we thinking like game 2, he really didn't have that good of a game until he just kind of turned it on in the fourth quarter. He had 13 points going into the fourth quarter, kind of a similar shooting splits too. So if this was a close game, I don't doubt that Donovan could have turned it on, but they didn't really need him to. So I think that it's fair to point that out as well. But yeah, I mean, he just wasn't great, and that's fine.
Yeah, it's what it is. He's a high volume shooter. You're going to have nights like this. All right, I want to close off on my guy, Max Strus, because I've been saying it all year long. People overlook how big of a swing factor he is for this team. And I think this was probably pretty easily the most impactful playoff game he's had in Cleveland. One of the most all-around impactful games I remember him having. Now, he didn't go absolutely nuclear from 3 like against Dallas or anything like that, but I felt like Max Strus was everywhere in this game, especially in the second half. There's a sequence where he like runs at Jarrett Allen pick and roll, hits a little finger roll for a bucket, comes down on the other end, helps off of Bam, goes and contests Andrew Wiggins at the rim vertically, gets the stop there, and then they come down the floor and Max Strus hits a 3. And I'm like, that's cinema. That's everything that I want from a Mad Max game. He was so good today. He literally impacted every aspect of the game. 18 points. He shot 7 of 13 from the floor. 9 rebounds, 3 of them offensive, 5 assists. He was distributing the ball. Now, he did throw the one bad pass to Jarrett Allen that resulted in his only miss of the game. But guess what? Max Strus rebounded the miss and put it back in for a layup. So Max Strus was great today. Played really good defense on Tyler Herro. Good defense overall. I think we sometimes, listen, he shouldn't be guarding like Jason Tatum, for example. We won't get too far ahead of myself. But like Max Strus shouldn't be guarding wings of that size. But I do think sometimes we underestimate how good of a defender Max Strus is and how well he is slotted into the starting lineup. And like when he's guarding someone like Tyler Herro, that's a matchup that he can actually handle himself pretty well. And again, the bigger wings, that's when the DeAndre Hunter, Dean Wade bad signal is probably going to come up. But in this game, Max Strus was awesome, and I just have to give him a big shout out because I thought he was legitimately great.
I think the ball handling and playmaking is really impressive in what he really provides. I think of that first offensive possession, he just runs a clean pick and roll with Jarrett Allen, makes the nice entry, like makes a nice bounce. I think it was a bounce pass that just led to a dunk. Could have been a lob. I don't know. Either way, he made the good pass and he ran the pick and roll. And I think that's what he does. He's such a well-rounded basketball player. And it's easy to think of somebody who is most known for their 3-point shot as not being well-rounded. And we talked about this, I remember last year we said 900 times, we said, we're surprised at how bad of a shooter Max Strus is, but at how good he is at absolutely everything else.
Exactly.
And he's not a bad shooter, but this was just a good example of how helpful he is because of all the things that he provides as a playmaker, as a defender, as a second, just as a ball handler. So just a great Max Strus game. And, not surprised to see it in Miami in his first playoff game there.
Yeah, little revenge game, although technically he was traded, but it was more so I think he wanted to come to Cleveland. It was a sign and trade, so but still, Max Strus doesn't need a reason to take things personally, and you could tell this game was going good because at one point Max Strus was smiling, and I was like, I don't see Max Strus smile very often. So it was after the Jarrett Allen miss, and he it was after that sequence when him and Jarrett Allen passed the ball to each other like 4 times in a span of like 2 seconds.
That was wild.
That was hilarious. That
might have been rude.
7th grade basketball stuff. Yeah, they were just toying with Miami at that point. But Max, you mentioned it. Pass, dribble, shoot. He can do all of them. And yeah, sure, he's never been as consistent of a 3-point shooter as we kind of thought that he was, but man, he does everything else. And he still has the capability to get hot from three. He shot the ball really well tonight. And some of the shots that he hits are so difficult. And that's why he's such a fascinating 3-point shooter, because you're like, all right, he's nowhere, like when you look at the percentages, he's nowhere near the elite shooters in the NBA. But then you look at the degree of difficulty and you're like, well, he kind of hits all the tough shots like he's an elite shooter, but he just doesn't do it consistently. He's a very, very strange shooter. We all know this, but when he gets it going, man, he is such a difference maker. And I absolutely love this game from Max Strus today. So shout out to Max.
Yeah, great game. Last thing I want to mention really quickly before wrapping up, the Cavs did a great job of rebounding and forcing turnovers and protecting the ball. Kenny's talked about repeatedly how he wants them to win the possession game. He was talking about it. I found quotes that I've included in my takeaways whenever they're up in February about how Kenny was like, I'm getting ready for the playoffs now, and it's just February, and I want them to protect the ball and, actually get rebounds. And game one, they were even in points off turnovers and second chance points. In game two, Miami won that battle by about 10. And in today, the Cavs won by 20 something. So It's easy. Like, we focus on a lot of things, but when you are such a good offensive team, you have such a high ceiling on offense, and you have such a high ceiling on defense, the ways you can lose is kind of these areas in the margins. And I think that when the Cavs take care of those areas on the margins, they're truly unbeatable. So I think that's important to highlight. Rebounding is a tough thing because it's a tough skill. Like, is it something that you can get better at? Is it instinctual? That remains to be seen. But doesn't remain to be seen, but you can debate about it. But the Cavs, when they're forcing other teams to turn it over, and they are putting an emphasis on rebounding and actually getting defensive rebounds, I think you can see this team's like fifth gear is just nobody can keep up with it. So just wanted to highlight that at the end.
No, it's a great point. And I think to build off that and then close this out, I think the fact that Kenny Atkinson and this Cavs team is able to pinpoint an area of concern and actually show results and like improve at them in a game by game basis. Like, even talk about the possession battle, but even just, okay, Miami has shut off the paint in games 1 and 2. Let's get Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley going crazy in the paint today. And they did it. So seeing Kenny and this coaching staff and the players focus on areas where they need to be better and then showing that they can be better at them, that's the stuff that's going to make you a champion, right? And they have to keep doing it. It's only the first round. You got to keep on doing this. But again, proof of concept. That's what I've been wanting to see. And so really great game today. Cavs take a 3-0 series lead. I'm feeling a sweep, Jackson. Are we calling it? Is it a sweep? Can we say Cavs in 4? Are they going to stun us?
You would think.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know.
Never know.
You would think Cavs in 4. I do not want to go to game 5. I will just say that I do not want to do that. That's a lot of work. So
I'll say it. Cavs in 4. Get the brooms out, everybody. It's going to be a sweep. There will be no game 5. Make sure you're following Fear the Sword on playback.tv so you can watch game 4 and, any potential future games. Hopefully it'll be the second round by then, but make sure you're following us there. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. Make sure you're checking out Fear the Sword for all of our post-game stuff. We really appreciate everyone who's been keeping up with the blog and the stream and the podcast. So shout out to all of you. And with all that being said, go Cavs.
I agree. Go Cavs. Brian, did you make time to see Revenge of the Sith this weekend?